Hey, what is going on YouTube? East Tactics here, and I want to create another bench video. As promised, I told you guys I would do some in-depth research on the differentials when it comes to the V4, understanding the differences between the V4 and the EXB, and actually now even the Arrma V5. So what is going on with the differentials so that we can have the best of the best in whatever vehicle we currently have, right? And so I don't know if you guys had the same sort of thought that I had whenever the EXB came out, and I heard that the EXB differentials were basically going to be made of, like they're just going to have thicker, wider teeth, a deeper spiral cut, and the actual gears themselves were going to be made of a higher quality hardened steel. And so I thought to myself, man, it'd be really cool. So I like went out and I actually bought a set of the EXB ring gears, thinking to myself, I'm gonna go ahead and just, attach this onto my V4 cups. And I'd be able to take advantage of these like higher quality steel. Like you can see how it's a darker tone than your stock V4. You see how it's made out of like a darker metal. So these have this hardened steel attribute, and they also have slightly deeper cut and the thickness. If you look close, you can see that the width of these are much thicker, as to provide more of the teeth to prevent, grinding, prevent wear, prevent gear slippages and stuff like that, right? So I was all excited, but then come to find out that the stock cups do not fit, which was a total bummer. Unfortunately, you cannot use the V4 cup with the gears and all that stuff on the new EXB. So in order for you to take advantage of the EXB differentials in the V4, which you can do, you basically have to buy the entire assembly and install it in the front, the rear, and the back. So anyway, just so you know. Now, here's the reason why I'm making this video though, the most exciting thing that I wanted to share. I found out that the V5 input gear is actually an upgraded version. It is compatible with the V4, but it's a redesigned input gear. It's made from the hardened steel, the highly coveted hardened steel that I would have wanted. And actually, if I had to make a choice between upgrading this to the hardened steel or upgrading this to the hardened steel, I had to make a choice. I would choose for this because this thing strips out way more often than these do. And so I would be like, dang, it would be really nice if this thing came in a hardened steel. Well, guess what? The V5, if you check their part list, actually is supporting a new part, which means they went in and redesigned this thing and actually are incorporating the higher end hardened steel. And they did not, and they are not doing anything as far as advertising to let all of us V4 owners know that there's actually an upgraded spiral input gear available for our V4s. All right, so let's go in and take a look at this. Let's click down to the Arrma website here. And when we get to the website, we're going to scroll down to the very bottom of the page. Here you're going to find the instruction manuals. Okay, let's click on the Kraton and we'll scroll down. Here's the EXB. We've got the V5 red. We've got the V5 blue. This looks like the V3. And then we've got the V4 red and the V4 blue. So let's go in and take a look at the V5. And what we're going to do is we're going to click down and look at the standard parts. So click on the picture and it'll take you to this page when you click on the picture. So on the first page loaded, we're going to scroll down near the bottom and we're going to see the spiral input gear here. The part number is ARA 311054, and you can see clearly there's a darkened look to it. They've created their own and it looks like a 3D mod or a 3D CAD version of it. In the overview, it says, this strong steel 10T spiral main input gear is the perfect part for your RC toolbox. Features constructed from hard, keyword, hard wearing steel for long lasting durability. And this is for the V5, which we know has the same exact differentials as the V4. Front to back, the cups are the same size. It uses the same internal gears. It uses the same spur gear, everything. So why is it that Arrma has actually made a different spiral input gear for the V5, and from what it looks like, nobody's really been told this? Also, another really important key thing to point out right here as you look at these requirements, again, we're looking at the V5, is it's saying that it is required for you to have those red listed components there. And technically, it's not required. I mean, if you get the V5, you're going to get those parts automatically. But if you're running the V4, then you can actually buy this spiral input gear, and you don't have to have the 4-piece external cup, the safety components. You don't have to have those things. You can use the spiral input gear and install it in the classic way that you would normally if you were to be installing a new input gear in your V4. All right, so now that we've looked at the V5, let's go in and take a close look at the V4 and see exactly what is going on here. We'll take us down to the V4 and we'll look at the standard parts. On the same front page, scroll down and we're going to find here AR 310 498, a completely different input gear, and it's got a different look to it. It's a gray tone, looks like it's made from a different metal. And as we scroll down and look at the overview, it says a similar thing. This high quality 10T spiral main input gear is perfect for your RC toolbox. Here it says super tough steel for long lasting, but no mention of hard steel, right? So I think that's very interesting. Another thing that is actually very interesting is if you go and you take a look, because on this page there's an option for you to take a look at upgraded parts that you can get for the V4, and it's called optional parts or the extreme bash option parts. Both are pretty much the same list, but when you click on the option parts, what it's showing you is stuff that you can upgrade to. And a lot of the stuff that you see here are the EXB parts. However, as I've mentioned in prior videos, if you want to take advantage of the EXB differentials, you've literally got to change over the entire differential because the cup size is different. And you could pick up the entire differential, like right here, the full kit, and then take advantage of what we know has been advertised as being made of a higher quality steel or a hardened steel, as well as take advantage of these limited slip options. And some people like the limited slip and the upgraded stuff that they incorporated into the EXB differentials. However, other people still swear by the classic V4 and now V5 differentials and are happy with them. But what's really interesting though is there is no optional upgrade part for the V4 showing this redesigned spiral input gear, which looks to be made out of a higher quality, heavier steel, and there's no listing for it. Even though it has its own unique part number, they don't show it here. And I feel like that's an oversight on Arrma's part. And honestly, they'd probably increase sales if they went ahead and slapped this new spiral input gear in this list so that the V4 owners, and there are a ton of them, can be alerted that, hey, if you want to take advantage of one of the most commonly worn parts that wears in strips, we now have a version that we put in our V5, but is compatible with the V4, available for you to upgrade to if you just want to do an upgrade, or at the very least, if you damage your V4 or you strip one of the older class spiral input gears, then you can switch it to the higher quality one. I mean, this is huge, guys. So that was the V5. Let's take a look now, just for thoroughness sake, at the EXB and see exactly what the verbiage is that it's showing in its description of the new spiral input gears for it. So let's go in and look at the standard parts and see exactly what it's showing see if it mentions anything about the hardened steel, even though we know that the hardened steel is an attribute of the EXB spiral input gears. All right, so let's see. Overview. This high quality 10T spiral gear, perfect for your RC toolbox. Constructed from tough steel material for long lasting durability and consistent performance. So it actually doesn't mention hardened steel. So I find that even more of an interesting attribute for the description of the V5. It mentions hardened steel. That's huge. I mean, why they didn't mention that at all anywhere in the Arrma releases, I don't know. I mean, I suspect or guess they have no real reason to advertise for the V4 or to provide any marketing for an upgraded part that could go on the V4. However, if they realized just how much money they can make off of selling these upgraded input gears by basically, letting us V4 owners know that there's a better version out there, they would sell tens of thousands of these input gears. And so anyway, I thought it was just very interesting, and so I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, I went ahead and I ordered 2 of these newer input gears, and I have the new one right here sitting next to an old one. So let's go in and take a close look at these. Get this out of the way. So one of the first things that you probably will notice, the darker tone to the new one compared to this one. You can tell that it's darker metal. You can also see the groove for the flat face where your grub screw goes in, but there's also a unique groove over here on this side as well. That has something to do with that safety cup sleeve that slides over for the V5, which if you've got the V5, you'll take advantage of it. However, here's the groove cut in the V4, and you'll just utilize this groove when installing this one into the V4. And again, you don't have to worry about that, all those extra accessories for the safety stuff, unless you feel like picking them up, and then you could of course incorporate that into this one. Another thing that you notice straight away is you notice that there is sort of a beveled engineering happening right here, where this one, it doesn't do that. It's more flat. You see that? Again, just how much darker this one is. So now let's look at the face of these. You can see the dark tone of this one compared to this. And when looking down from the top, alright, I just moved my camera to a stationary mount so we can pick these up. Now, if you look really closely, you can actually see the grains on the edge, the flat edge. Another thing that I noticed that was different about these is you see the triangular shape of these teeth. They're a little bit more sharp, slightly more triangular, whereas when you look at this, they've got more of a kind of a meatier breadth to them, which is going to lend to the strength quite a bit. Now let's take a look at this one. You see how much shinier that is? You can tell it's more of a, I mean, it's definitely not aluminum, but the steel is it's different. it's not a hardened steel like the new V5 version. And again, the V5 version fits into the V4, and in all sense of the word is an upgrade for us V4 owners. So another thing that I wanted to show you guys was, and check this out. So I also thought this was really interesting. One way to tell basically the compound makeup of metal. So when I grab this one, which is the V4 version, and I try to move the screen, I get nothing. Now watch this, the V5 version, which is the harder steel. I'm able to basically do what I want with this phone with this one. So just another indication that the compound or the makeup of this metal is different. Ultimately, what I wanted to share with you guys is there's a new cowboy in town, and it is the V5, input spiral gear made from a hardened steel that, quite frankly, is one of the most pivotal pieces in our vehicles. And Arrma neglected to give the V4 owners a serious, heads up on the fact that there's a better part in town for them to use. Now, for those of you that are actually, have maybe stripped one of these gears, one of the older versions, and gone in to kind of look for a replacement part, it is very possible that you could just go in and end up buying another one of these. And that is what I want to kind of prevent you from doing. I want you to know that there is the V5 version that is the same pitch and the same mod as the V4 with a better quality engineering and harder steel that you could pick up instead. So be careful. Make sure you go in and pick up the part number ending in 054, and you can find it on Amazon. I have went in and added it to my master link description. So go ahead and just look in my description, click on the Arrma V4 parts, go into that master link, and I believe it's near the top. You're going to find this new input gear in stock on Amazon. I picked up 2 of them. Now granted, the ones that I currently have in my vehicle, which are this older style, I'll go ahead and keep running them, and if I end up stripping one of them out, then I've got these bad boys on standby. So just so you know. So once again, guys, I really appreciate you watching my videos. Again, if you ever feel like my stuff or my material is helpful, hit that like button for me, and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and stay tuned for the different tactics that I try to bring to the table. I try to think outside the box, and I try to come up with ways that we could go above and beyond the typical norm when it comes to doing things to our vehicles and making sure that they're in the most pristine shape and the toughest shape that we can get them to. So, check out my library full of a ton of different tactics and ideas. Stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to be going in and creating some shock tactics for installing our 40mm fans onto
the motor.
I really want to get a solid heat sink with these size fans mounted in not just a lackadaisical mount, but a mount that is actually going to incorporate some of the sorbothane shock absorbing tactics. And in order to do that, I need to put some sorbothane under it, and I need to provide some cushion so that it can absorb the shock and actually ultimately protect the fan from breaking. So stay tuned for that video. That'll be dropping here pretty soon, and I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. East Tactics out.